So the preparation time is over, and now I'd like to call the Prime Minister to open this speech, open this debate in 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairperson. I would now like to begin my speech. Stressing, as the Prime Minister, we, the current society, are able to recognize diversity of talents and conditions of individual students, more accurately than ever before. We, the government, understand the efficiency of the current education system in public schools under the status quo, that they are outdated, inflexible, and undermines diversity. We, the government, understand the importance of changing this status quo, that by doing so, society will be able to see healthier, highly educated citizens as a whole, provide a healthier education. We believe in the advantages. We believe that the advantages that the after plan will provide us will outweigh far away whatever cons that loss the opportunity will provide, and we'll be proving to you all that we are very true about this. Before I move on further with my speech, I would first like to introduce some definitions. Firstly, schools that we are going to be debating about are Japanese public schools, that is elementary, junior, high, and high schools. Also, as for the grade skipping, this will only apply only to particular subjects, so as not to neglect the mental and the importance of mental and physical educational pupils. With that said, I would first like to introduce our first point, that is diversity of students. The characteristic of schools that it plays an important role in society, that is ensuring future talents, and the characteristic of students, how they have diverse natural talents, be it for particular subjects or study arts, and that they are under diverse conditions, environments of their parents, both financially and that of family relationships. Understanding the characteristic of the protagonist, schools must be able to provide flexible education fit for each student's academic level. This means accepting diversity in a deeper scale of traits and mental, and making use of the limited time pupils spend at school as much as possible to successfully educate children, for them to recognize their potential and utilize to lead a successful career and contribute to society. Under the status quo educational system of public schools, level the traits of students and only provide a set level of education. Yes, this may mean that society will be able to ensure that students receive at least a certain degree amount of education, but the time and potential neglected, wasted in the process is too valuable. Considering the diverse status of families, it is very likely that some students aren't able to receive a fit education for their abilities, which if they ever were so financially gifted, they could have made use to succeed academically. And so, for example, Korea school is able to provide advanced English education to returnees, but this is only because Korea is a private school, and these kind of systems aren't seen in public schools, at least commonly. Changing the status quo like so would allow students with high academic abilities to, even those who are poor, even those who have poor backgrounds, to receive just the same level, amount, quality of education as students that are financially gifted, and students as a whole to receive fit education, and for schools to provide ever-evolving education made fit for diverse students. These benefits can only be provided by us, the government, as we are the only power to do so. We are, and so what's necessary.
first point, now I'd like to
So thank you, Prime Minister. Now I'd like to call the leader of the opposition to open the case in 5 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, so grade skipping causes isolation between. Okay, I'll first like to start with the refutation against the Prime Minister. He said that, well, he talked about how they will they will allow the students to take different classes according to their talent, and we agree that that's a pretty good way to use their talents, and yeah, we think that it's a pretty good idea, but we think that it's unrealistic because there aren't that many teachers, and if there's going to be classes for things that are minor, such as not really minor, but if there are going to be classes that are for talents that not many people do, then it's not going to have many students in the class, and it will cost more to hire teachers for a class of, I don't know, five or six people, and so it will be unrealistic to take this plan. Now I know that I said it's unrealistic, but now I'd like to talk about how some other problems that the system they gave has. Okay, so grade skipping. So the people will only be able to talk with the people in the same classes. And yes, they said that it's only going to be for subjects, so like homeroom and other things are different, which is for the mental development of the students. They're only going to be able to talk with those people during homeroom, and that's only that's only 10 minutes, like 10 to 15 minutes, and yes, so they will only be able to talk with the people that take the classes with them, and that's only for some minor talents, then it's going to be like 5 to 6 people, and yes, it's going to cause isolation between people because they won't be able to talk with other people. Okay, now I'd like to, for example, they said that, they gave the example of Kogyuksha being one of these, Kogyuksha being an example of the system by the returnee classes having, pretty decent English classes. And yes, we think that, we also think that the returning class is good, but as you can see, people in the returning class mostly only talk with the people in the returning class, and not really with the people in the other classes. And if it if it's for normal classes, then there's going to be a lot of class changes, so you'll get to know a lot of other people. But however, for this system, there's not going to be a lot of people, so there's not going to be class changes, and so you'll be stuck with the same group of friends, and And yes, it's same for Kogyuksha. There's no class changes for returning class usually, and so there's no class changes. So you'll be with the same people for 3 years, and yes, that may be good for the bonding of the classmates, but it's you probably aren't going to be talking with other people from the normal classes, and so it obviously causes isolation between people, and yes, we believe that talent is important, but although making the talent grow is important, we believe that isolation, we believe that it's not good to have a society that's full of people that can only talk with the people that they know, and so we believe that the house should not introduce grade skipping thing.
Thank you, leader of the opposition. Now I'd like to call the member of the government to reconstruct their case in 5 minutes, usually.
Okay, so I will start my speech. So the current education system is outdated and it is inflexible and it undermines diversity. So therefore, we would like to introduce grade skipping. So before I start talking about our second point, I will start off by refuting to the leader of opposition. So the leader of opposition mentioned that grade skipping will increase isolation between students because and they explained that for like minor talents, minor talents that not many people do, there will be less students and there will need to be more teachers. However, we believe that first we mentioned in the definition that we are going to do grade skipping according to each subject, and this is like language arts, math, science, and social studies. So I don't think this problem will occur because there aren't any classes that not many people take, and he also said that there will be less time to communicate with the students in the same room as you, but we believe that this is not true because by taking many different classes, there will be more chance to interact and communicate with new students. So we believe that this is the exact opposite. And also, he mentioned about the Kogyuksha returning students, the returning classes. But for this, again, they're just considering the English, but we are saying that we're going to do grade skipping for each subject. So we think that this is a complete different situation. So now I would like to move on to our second point, which is about having a higher quality of evaluation system. So after accepting the diversity of students, schools will be able to evaluate their students more accurately. Under the status quo, schools cannot evaluate their students accurately because there's a limit. And the students who have a higher ability cannot be evaluated properly, and this is a serious problem. But many private schools do, like from junior high school in many private schools, like students learn things that that the public school learns in high school, and this is clearly giving like advantage to students because they will have more time to study like high level things. And but for like current public schools, this is not the case, so it's causing like a serious problem. However, if we introduce grade skipping, things will change. Students can make the most out of their ability, and this is because they can understand what they're really good at. And this is definitely better because students can spend their time deepening their ability instead of like learning things that they already know and wasting their time and their stamina. Thank you.
Now I'd like to call the member of the opposition to reconstruct your case in 5 minutes.
Before I start my points, I'd like to start with a refutation to the second speaker. They said that they will make grade skipping for language, arts, math, and other things. But this means that people with talents that are minor are unable to do it, and it means that the government government's goal of growing talent is achieved. Now, I would like to start with our second point. It's that isolation. If grade skipping is introduced, a child prodigy and child prodigy goes into higher grade, it's likely that the child would feel quite lonely. This is because he wouldn't know how to interact with a higher grade student, and the same could be said for the higher grade students that are with that child. And also, that child could be a bit too clever for higher people around him, and that would make the higher grade students a bit intimidated. That would mean that would create this isolation may have a great effect on the child later on. For example, not being able to connect to people properly and resulting in distrusting others. If there is an increase in the number of people who are like that, it will be most likely that if people who are like that go into society and do what they do, they wouldn't be able to interact with people properly, and that isn't great. That would make the business a bit more hard, and people who have isolated will be more likely to speak to people who are they comfortable with, and so they wouldn't be able to speak and express their feelings in the society. Thank you.
call the leader of the opposition to close their case in 3 minutes.
Okay, I like to start my speech. So I like to start with the refutation against the member of government. So he said that, he talked about how my point on, Kogyosha was like irrelevant, or like it wasn't like it didn't make sense, or it wasn't relevant with the point. But however, there's clearly a barrier between returning students and English returning students and normal students, and as I said, there's no chance to grow their interaction skills because there's no class changes. It leads to isolation because of not being able to grow their interaction skills. And I like to add on to the refutation that our second speaker did to the member of government. About how they're not being able to grow their talent. So their team stance or team goal was mainly about growing talent, and they talked about making classes that are language, arts, maths, science, etc. But that's like that isn't. They aren't thinking about the people with talents that are kind of minor, such as not talents, but art. Not art. Philosophy, religion, etc. And so yeah, they aren't able to do their goal. Okay, so now I'd like to move on to my class point. So our class point is talent or isolation. Talent or stopping isolation. So there's on their side, they want to grow talent because other people have different people have different talents, but however, we think that the system that they have given causes a society full of isolated people, and as our second speaker said, a society full of isolated people will be bad because they won't be able to communicate with others that they don't really know, and so it's going to really be bad for business because they won't be able to communicate. And either way, you're going to need to communicate with others. So it's going to be detrimental for society. And that's why we believe that this house would not introduce grade skipping. Thank you.
Now I'd like to call the Prime Minister reply.
Their characteristics. One, they have natural talents. They are under diverse environments of their parents' ability, financial status, position. Understanding that schools are required to nurture talents, their education system should be made diverse so that students will be able to receive higher level of education without joining other firms, spending unnecessarily high amount of money, or being deterred from other factors such as parents, political information, stars in a relationship, so that schools will be able to adjust the content of the education and improving them using flexibility of the system to provide even healthier school life. Considering the opposition's role in this debate was to explain why the school must be left as it is, even after considering all the arguments we made, why their benefits outweighs the diversity and inequality of the any opportunity to receive education. Chairperson, they failed to fulfill any of their role. All they ever did was basically neglect our points, misunderstand our definitions and the essence of this motion, adhering to the point about the importance of mental education, interaction between peers, which, as we've explained, can be achieved by ourselves on ourselves as well. Not much of a class to be made here. They should have gone from the beginning as and how they shouldn't be victims to understand our points, but to conclude, partly allow me to use one point, which was diversity versus aspiration. The opposition, as I mentioned before, misunderstood the importance of the problem of the status quo. So many underlying gaps of the students' environment, level education deters high-level students from making use of their time to maximum potential. Low-level students will be forced into a level class. We stress these importance while the opposition didn't feed to any of our points, sitting there no our points. Understand the essence of this motion. The only thing relevant in this room is the understanding of this motion. About isolation, the only point they raised about isolation, students can still interact with in club activities or other mental and physical classes. It's not like students will lose every connection with their peers if they are receiving high grade education for some particular subject. We don't really understand why they raised this point. The points lack in uniqueness, therefore we are superior in this class. We, the government, can provide without proposal a healthier school life, equality of receiving higher level education, and diversity of education. Three important factors impacting people's career. These benefits can never be achieved by the opposition. Therefore, we are very happy to work with them.
So thank you, Prime Minister. Now I'd like to end this debate.